So unfortunately, there was an error on my console, so I don't know where the last save is. What had happened so far, I had found a guy beside the hospital area to be brought into the hospital. I had spoken to the ambulance driver, and I had spoken to a morgue assistant / pawnbroker, and I was in the process of returning the ambulance driver's wallet to him from a side quest. So if that doesn't reload back to where I was, that's all that was missed. So let's jump back into it. Use the workbenches and hideouts to craft new treatments and serums, or to upgrade your weapons. So because the previous attempt did encounter an error, the only thing that I was explaining that had been cut out was the fact that the graphics, the music, everything about this game is so incredible. It's so visually appealing. There's so many things to explore and learn, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the story progresses and what it entails going forward. Yeah, it does look like my previous gameplay did continue to save, but unfortunately the video of it was lost, which is unfortunate. Alright. So we'll go back this way to see if I can find Milton and bring him back his wallet. So it was this way I think I had to keep going. Oh no, that's blocked off, so it's the other way. So I'm gonna put the marker here. Or not. Take the garbage lid. Should be over here, I think. Can I cut through the... Oh. I can cut through.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Alright, Milton, come back here.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Alright, I found your wallet.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Interesting. Alright, let's trade.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Alright, so last time I talked to him, I bought pistol bullets and I think a couple of shotgun shells. But I'm not going to get anything else from him right now. And I don't think I'm going to trade anything to him. Investigation succeeded. Okay, so No new collectibles. Okay, so Clay Cox is the guy that I found on the harbor side that needed help. Dr. Corcoran Tippets, I've spoken to him once. He's apparently an associate that I met. I think the explanation was in New York. Corcoran is convinced that Gwyneth Branagan is overqualified as a nurse. Haven't met her yet. Pippa is Milton's girlfriend. Milton is the merchant as well as the ambulance driver. Let's see. And Dorothy Crane is the lead nurse that I was introduced to at the end of the first video. So find my office on the second floor. Let's talk to you. Who are you?
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Interesting.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
I think everybody's feeling that with the current epidemic that's going on. I think it's kind of amusing and ironic that I'm playing a game about an epidemic while the world is dealing with the whole COVID-19 situation.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Alright, how long have you been a nurse?
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Fine, I won't tell you.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Branagan.
Indeed.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why?
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Something happened?
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Can I ask you about your relationship with him?
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
The heart wants what the heart wants. I'm a little disconcerted that she's staring in the direction of the camera instead of his character.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Right. Excuse me. Milton's reputation is mediocre among his colleagues. In the name of mercy, they depend on you. Nurses are needed now. Inquire at the nearest appointments office of the Ministry of Labor and National Service or write to 15 Kingsways, London.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good
Who are
evening,
you?
miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
I seriously doubt that.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
So she wants to be a vampire.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
I'm intrigued.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
If you say so.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require?
Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Anything else I can ask you? No.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wish I could be sick again.
On every street
Feel my
corner,
blood boil with the fever.
the daily routine.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. war injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Interesting. Wonder why he says that.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
It's a shame that he's so downtrodden. Medical checkup. Press R2 for details. Thomas sees Thelma Howcroft as living proof that there is hope for him. Thelma is affected by the Cotard syndrome and believes she is a vampire. Excuse me.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Door's locked. Who are you?
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Few questions.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What about Tom?
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
The who?
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Interesting.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Prevent disease. Careless spitting, sneezing, coughing. Spread influenza. Spread by droplets sprayed from nose and throat. Do not cough in public. What are you? Are you still Pippa?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good
Yes,
evening,
you are.
Dr. Reed.
Anything more I can get from you? No.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Alright, up the stairs we go. Take off the marker. Alright. Second floor. Dr. Swansea, let's talk to you for a minute.
Not now.
Alright. Just down the hallway. Doctors Tippets, Strickland, and Ackroyd. That's not my office. Dr. Reed, this one's mine.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Nice. What's this? Article on econs. It is a rare opportunity and almost a privilege to approach a vampire, to observe their most intriguing physical and psychological traits with a scientific and rational eye. Here are some of the most fascinating abilities I've personally observed over the last 10 years while interviewing a few vampires, or econs, as they prefer to call themselves. Supernatural speed. A vampire can act and move like a mortal in all his actions, but the trained eye will spot that they have the keenest senses and can react quicker than any mortal. Excuse me. On a few occasions, alarm, surprise, necessity to flee. I have seen a vampire move so quickly it is almost as if he had vanished just to reappear somewhere else. The human eye cannot follow their movements when they act so quickly, but it is not a teleport or dematerialization. It is only a supernatural speed. For me, it is a cat-like attribute which allows them to run, dodge, or jump longer and faster than us. I also notice that such speed seems to exhaust them, and that they are bound to physical limitations. Mesmerism. One of the most powerful abilities that a vampire can deploy is the capacity to force a mortal to obey them. I call this trait mesmerism, but it has nothing to do with the mortal ability to alter a subject's mental state. A vampire can bend a mortal to their will. They can even break a mind. A vampire I interviewed even told me the more a subject tries to resist, the more permanent the damage will be. As if the vampire could literally fracture their target's psyche. The same vampire explained to me that this ability required time to master, and that the result could vary widely from one subject to another. Implant a false memory, erase a painful one. The possibilities are endless and frightening. Blood awareness. This may be the most catastrophic ability of all concerning vampires, since it is the cause of so many tragedies for them and us. Vampires crave for blood. They must use their will to restrain themselves from frenzied drinking every drop of blood they can see. They need blood to function and to express their full supernatural traits. A famished vampire can be very weak, even if he cannot die of hunger or thirst. This need for blood may explain why a vampire is so aroused by it. A vampire confessed to me that blood could sometimes blind him since its smell and attractiveness can be so strong. Oh. I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't even push anything. When he focuses, a vampire can almost see blood all around them, inside warm bodies, through walls, on a supposedly clean weapon, etc. The same vampire even told me that he can see if a mortal has clean blood or is ill, and that in some cases he can even sense disease, infected clothes, or even items in a room. If this is true, it could have many medical applications. It almost beggars belief. Open cupboards. Found some vials.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Where's the tap? I'll water you in a minute then. Analyze that. Refill all. Nothing to refill yet. Aluminum powder, shillings. Ah, I knew there was a sink there. But it won't let me do anything. Dr. Swansea's message. Dear Jonathan, I asked Nurse Crane to secure an office for you on the second floor. Please forgive the austere decoration, but Pembroke Hospital is not exactly the Ritz. Sorry to let you discover your office alone, but I need to sleep a little before going back to work. I'm just a mere mortal after all. I also gave orders to let you rest and for the staff to never enter your room. You will be able to sleep all day without being disturbed and work all night without raising suspicion. I'm afraid the place is quite messy, but you'll be able to conduct your experiments here at your own pace. You'll also notice there is an open window with a scaffolding that will allow you to enter and exit the hospital without being noticed. I imagine how awfully new and disturbing this all must be for you. Believe me, I have studied enough of your species to understand what you must now be facing and feeling. Be assured I'll do whatever I can to help you in this ordeal. Know that you're not completely alone facing it. I'm glad I met you, these dark times we are all presently facing. I hope our future collaboration will yield great results. Welcome to Pembroke, my esteemed colleague. We shall talk soon. Yours sincerely, Edgar Griffith Swansea. P.S. I left a copy of some of my notes concerning what I have discovered about econs in the last few years. Feel free to read about it if you need some guidance, as long as you don't use this knowledge to take advantage of me. I read your notes already. Let's analyze William's blood and then I'll do the rest thing. You first need to analyze the components you found to unlock new recipes. Click on the to analyze. Alright. To analyze. Blood sample of William Bishop. Press and hold. Serums. Light regeneration serum. Regenerate 300 points instantly, then 150 health points over 15 seconds. Sepsis. Anemia. Fatigue.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Guess it's a good thing I didn't go to sleep first. Woo! Look at all the things I can upgrade. Alright, so defensive. Coagulation. You will block your target's blood in their veins, making them defenseless. Blood barrier. Create an invisible barrier, absorbing direct damage until it fades or is destroyed. Increase blood capacity. Increase blood absorption. Let's do Big Thirst. And I'll upgrade it after. Tactical. Perform a supernatural move to your target and cause damage upon landing. Train your stamina to fade into the shadows and become invisible to most enemies. Moving into this state will drain more stamina. You will exit the shadows if you attack or dodge or when your stamina is empty. Interesting. Guess I'll upgrade my bite. And increase stamina, I guess. Alright. Press and hold to confirm. The following night.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now because it is the start of chapter 2. So we'll go from there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!